Okay, so now I'm going to begin going through how to place objects and images into these files. Again, there are a few different ways to go about it. The simplest would be just to use the Place tool. So you can find that under File, Place, or the hotkey is Control-D. So I've opened up the links folder here, and I've just placed some images that I'm going to be putting in these spreads. So I'm just going to choose one that might fit in one of these frames and hit open. And you can see that it's allowing me to place it anywhere. So I can place it on the page, and you can see that it is huge. So I'll just resize it here, but then I'll also show you a couple of easier ways to place things so that they don't end up completely massive. One thing to note when you're resizing images in InDesign is every image comes in as the image, but with a frame over top of it. So if I were to just grab this and resize, it actually just crops the image rather than resizing it. So you can see that it's only the corner now. So what you have to do actually is to hit Control and then also Shift when you're resizing things. And that will resize both the image and the frame. So I'll show you a little bit more what I'm talking about here. So if I'm just to click on this image, I can move it around and it stays the same. And so that actually is grabbing both the image and its frame. If I click on the image again in the middle here and move it, you can see that it's actually just moving within this bounding box. And so that's the frame. You can also just change the frame size. And this is actually kind of a nice tool because it allows you to really quickly crop things and resize them specifically for your document without any destructive edits. So it's kind of like a clipping frame. It takes a little bit to get used to, but it is a really handy tool. So I'm going to place it on top of this frame here. And again, hold Control Shift, and then I can resize it. And I'm just going to align it here with this box. And because I have this frame over top, I can resize it and crop it there. And then I'm actually just going to move the image over. So again, you can see that this clipping frame is sort of cropping it out on this side. So that's probably the most kind of difficult way to place and resize images according to the layout that we already have. So let me just show you kind of an easier way to use these frames to place images. So I'm going to click inside of this frame here. And again, I'm going to hit Control-D or File, Place, and grab another image and hit Open. And this will automatically resize the image to fit within the frame that I had selected prior to placing my image. So yeah, this is a lot nicer of a way of placing content when you already have these kind of bounding boxes set out. And this is the really nice thing about using these layouts. Okay, and then the last way that I'm going to show you how to add images is to use the links panel. So I clicked in this frame twice, so now we've actually grabbed the content of the frame. You can see it's got this larger kind of magenta box around it. And I'm going to go to my links panel, which I've got docked on the right hand side here. If you don't have it docked, it'll be under Window and Links or Control-Shift-D. That'll make it pop up here. And you can see that I have this image JPEG with a little concerned question mark that says it's missing. Basically, the document has linked an image here and it doesn't know what it's referencing. So I'm actually just going to double click the question mark and it'll give me this option to relink the image. And I can grab another image to replace that with. Let's stick some sketches in here. And I've hit open, and you can see that the document has come in upside down, unfortunately, so I'll just rotate it. And I will have to resize this one because it is clipping my sketches right now, which I don't want. And I think that looks pretty good for that size. I'm gonna keep the frame on here for now. And this is also just a tip. If you want to see what your print preview kind of looks like without all of these guides on it, you can just hit W and it'll show you the kind of print preview of the page. You can still navigate around, so I actually do document editing in this view mode occasionally. To go back, just hit W again. And if you want a full screen print preview, Shift W will get you that as well, and it'll show you the whole spreads at one time. And Escape to get out of that view mode. So now that I have placed all of my content, I'm going to just show you some frame fit tools. So again, I'm going to click inside this frame twice to grab the content, and you'll notice there's a panel up here and it has a few different options. There's fill frame proportionally, so that will fill the entire frame with the content. There's fit content frame proportionally, which does essentially what I just did and shrinks the content so that it fills the frame. There's fit content to frame, which will stretch your content. Fit frame to content, which changes the frame size. I'm just going to go back here. And then there's center content. It's already centered, but let's say I had it up there. We'll grab that again and center the content. So you can always use these to kind of rapidly adjust the sizing and orientation of your images within your frame. I'm going to go back to that fit content proportionally. So one other thing that I want to show you is how to quickly edit your content in other programs. Adobe InDesign has a nice feature where you can actually grab your content and go edit with, and it allows you to open these in Photoshop or Illustrator. So to make your file sizes as small as possible, I do recommend only linking JPEGs rather than like your PSD or your Illustrator files. But if you do happen to have your Photoshop files linked here, you can open them straight into Photoshop. So I'll do that now. Okay, so let's say that I just want to make a really quick adjustment to the brightness of this image. I'll do that, and then I'm going to export this with the original JPEG name. So I have saved that in Photoshop, and you can see that this image has now automatically updated because it is linked to the image in my folder, and I saved over it with the same name. So that will automatically update. Sometimes when you open a folder, things won't automatically update, so you can always go back to your links panel and see if anything needs updating.